I mean, my whole channel is about how-to videos, so I figured why not make a how-to video about this. This week is hard for many, but it's the hardest for the Black community. And as a Chinese Canadian, I have the space and the capacity to step up and do something. I think it's very important for POCs to stand in solidarity and to work towards closing the gap between Asian and Black people because, I mean, there's a long history of resentment there. We can really show up and show them that we're here to support. I forgot to mention that this video is going to be a fundraiser for the Center for Black Equity. They aim to provide wellness opportunities, economical empowerment for Black LGBTQ+ individuals. I'm going to be donating my AdSense to this as well, and hopefully we can reach the goal. So we have to break this down to the past, present, and the future. When we look at our past, or more accurately, the American history, which is very similarly reflected in Canada, our Asian history is very different from Black history. Asians were not allowed to be citizens. We were treated terribly, paid horribly, even though we helped build America. And then when they were done with us, they mocked us because of our appearance, and they feared us because white people were afraid that we were taking their jobs. Black people, on the other hand, were stolen from their countries. They were enslaved, and then when they were liberated, they were expected to meet the exact same standards of society, assimilate perfectly, and step up even more to prove that they are just as worthy as everybody else. We've been segregated, we've been discriminated against, but our histories do differ. And we have to understand that the model minority myth that was brought on us is often used against us and against Black people. It's the idea that hard work and strict Asian values is the only reason for our success. And obviously this is an oversimplified view of how things worked and doesn't even discuss how racism came into play to push all of us down. We also have to unlearn the discriminatory values that were taught to us in the past, thinking that we somehow have more values that are able to pull us out of situations that we were never in the first place. And it takes the responsibility out of Asians with dealing with the complexities of racism and how racism has affected Black people. I think across all of Asia, there's also a really fucked up ideal of colorism, and it's just the prevalence of bleaching and whitening, even when it comes to Southeast Asians versus Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, that sense of superiority over somebody that may be Filipino, Indonesian, Indian, this automatically translates when Asians immigrate to America and see Black people and immediately fear them. And then we fail to see the beauty in Black folk in not just their appearance, but also in their character. A lot of Asians are upset, justifiably so. In light of this pandemic, a lot of racism has been put on us, and we've been blamed for many things and discriminated against. This doesn't negate the racism that Asians have experienced recently. It's just that we need to set aside our anguish at this time and focus on the lives of Black people, because what their situation is facing is murder. Of course, there's abuse and violence against Asians recently because of what happened. The racism during COVID, the urgency is just put aside for now. That's it. It'll come back. We can talk about it later. I grew up with a bunch of Asian gangster friends. I tried to be Asian gangster. We, as Asians, especially the younger generation, have benefited off of Black culture. The thing about that is that at the end of the day, we can shed all those. We can stop speaking with the Black scent, we can change our clothes, and then we become the usual non-threatening Asian. But Black people, it's impossible for them to escape that because of the color of their skin, no matter how white they dress, no matter how white they talk. And even then they're presented with microaggressions from other people that are saying things like, "Why do you talk so white? Wow, you're educated for a Black person." And us benefiting off of Black culture is recognition that, this is why more than ever we need to stand in solidarity with them. This brings us to the present and what we should do right now. Not just listen to friends and family, but also listen from a Black perspective. We need to educate ourselves and not depend on our Black friends to educate us. Just imagine being flooded and overwhelmed with so much news, so many stories, and then having your non-Black friend come up to you and be like, hey, can you, so like, tell me all about this information. Can you tell me how I can be better? It's just, they're already emotionally exhausted and it's not up to them to educate you. There's endless resources, and I'll link some below on how you can educate yourself on the recent situation. Moving on to the future and what we can do long term to support our Black friends. This one I'm a little iffy about. If you have Black friends, I think it's good to check in on them, but also if you don't talk to them on a regular basis, it can be performative, it can be exhausting for them to reply to you. This is now time to have some hard conversations with not just yourself, but maybe your parents and your family. The older generation may not be aware, or they may have differing views on this just based off of their old prejudices and like really sketchy WhatsApp threads. But I posted like a really simple how to talk to your Asian parents on my Instagram. It's also time to advocate, not just now, not just posting a Black picture and not saying anything. If you're feeling kind of lost and overwhelmed, an easy way to look at it is finding your own stance. So if you like to read books, for example, look for Black authors and share Black authors and Black books that you enjoy. If you can't donate, sign petitions. Email your government representative. There's plenty of templates online that you can copy and paste. Looking within yourself and what you're passionate about and seeing how it can translate into action. And in the future, make friends that don't look like you. It's really that simple. If you look amongst your circle of friends and you all look alike, it's the same as representation in movies. Representation is so important. You will gain so much and learn so much from diversifying your friend circle. I hope this is a helpful guide and provides first steps onto how you can start being an ally for the Black community. And I promise you, we all benefit from trying to support each other as POCs, and racism will only go away if we acknowledge that it happens for our other minority brothers and sisters.